Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, the standalone extension to the hit game Doki Doki Literature Club, is a game unlike any other. Taking on the guise of a visual novel dating sim, Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, or DDLC Plus for short, turns the very concept of visual novel dating sim on its head, revealing much more than meets the eye. And what good is a game-changing game without its juicy secrets? Alright everyone, my name is EchoTango and welcome to the first part of a 4-part series detailing all the secrets DDLC Plus has to offer. In this part, I will focus on everything regarding the poems you get to read in-game. Before we get started, I recommend you play DDLC Plus at least once before watching the rest of this video, because there are spoilers ahead. Additionally, any sketches and promos that are unlocked due to poems will be detailed in a future part of this series. Now with that out of the way, let's get started. There are 25 documents the game considers as poems, all of which can be viewed in the Poems section of the Pictures tab after seeing them for the first time. 5 poems were written by Monika, 5 poems were written by Yuri, 4 poems were written by Sayori, and 5 poems were written by Natsuki. In addition, there is Monika's final message to the player, Dan Salvato's message of gratitude to the player, and 4 quote-unquote special events poems written by each of the 4 girls. Notice that unusual poems such as Sayori's Get Out of My Head poem, Natsuki's Message of Concern, and Yuri's Crazy poem are not included. Monika's poems are the most straightforward to obtain. On the first day of poem sharing in Act 1, Monika will always show you the poem Hole in Wall, which indicates her epiphany of her existence inside a video game. On the second day of poem sharing, Monika will always show you the poem Save Me, which highlights the constant torture she undergoes whenever the game isn't running. On the third day of poem sharing, Monika will always show you the poem The Lady Who Knows Everything, which describes how the quest for knowledge is what gives life meaning, a clear contrast to the subject matter of her previous poems. Now on the first day of poem sharing in Act 2, Monika will always show you a variation of the poem Hole in Wall, which continues to describe her epiphany. In Act 3, Monika will always show you the poem Happy End, a clear indication that she obtained her believed to be happy ending. Once you have seen all these poems, you now have access to Monika's special events poem, an electrical signal from some remote corner of my brain, connecting all kinds of circuits and nerves and chemicals in a web understood by nobody. The chemicals made my chest tingle around my beating heart. The nerves make my hand move, staining a dead tree with some dark substance. The ink reflects light into your glimmering eyes. Holding this paper is almost as though you are holding my hand which wrote it. Let our emotions stir together until our hearts beat in harmony, connected to each other. Finally, at the end of a normal run, you will be presented with Monika's final message, her final goodbye to the Literature Club. Just like Monika's poems, Yuri's poems can all be found in the base game, but this time more involvement is necessary. On the first day of poem sharing in Acts 1 and 2, Yuri will always show you the poem Ghost Under the Light, a metaphor for moving on from a familiar past into an uncertain future. On the second day of poem sharing in Act 1, Yuri will show you the poem The Raccoon, hinting at her affinity to knives and cutting. This poem can only be seen if your first poem or first 2 poems were for Yuri, or if Yuri liked any poems for Sayori more than Natsuki. On the third day of poem sharing in Act 1, Yuri will show you one of 2 poems, or none. If the conditions for seeing the raccoon were at least met, you will see her beach poem, simply titled Beach. If all 3 of your poems were for Yuri, she will show you Ghost Under the Light Part 2, an extension of her first poem but with a happy romantic resolution. Now on the second day of poem sharing in Act 2, Yuri will always show you the poem Wheel, which indicates her descent into madness. Once you have seen all these poems, you now have access to Yuri's special events poem. My conductor motions for one crescendo after the next, each time falling short of a climax. The lump in my throat is carried by Sisyphus. How many words must I choose not to say before they finally break loose, orderlessly piling out of my mouth like a flock of school children at the start of recess? Pen cannot be erased, but even that metaphor fails comically as my floor is littered, blanketed with wasted paper. A canvas of my mind, full of disjointed thoughts and unfinished sentences. Perhaps all along, it was wrong to try forcing them out of my room, and I should instead invite you in. Unlike Yuri's poems, Sayori's poems are straightforward to obtain and require playing the base game and the first side story, Trust. On the first day of poem sharing in Act 1, Sayori will always show you the poem Dear Sunshine, which is straightforward but rushed since she wrote it before coming to school. On the second day of poem sharing, Sayori will always show you the poem Bottles, which indicates her struggle with depression. Now in the side story Trust, Sayori will accidentally show Monica Take My Hand, a happy and romantic poem. Later, Monica will come across Sayori's poem folder containing Become the Flower, which is another indication of Sayori's struggle with depression. Once you have seen all these poems, you now have access to Sayori's Special Events poem. There once was a ladybug. It was so small it took a really long time to crawl from here to there. It was very tiring to fly for too long. Nobody squishes ladybugs because they're cute. Does that really make them better than other bugs? Do ladybugs know they're cute? I think they're too preoccupied with bug things. And so, the ladybug crawled around and did bug things. This story wasn't really going anywhere. But I know you don't mind. I hope you think it's nice for being there anyway. Like ladybugs. Like this ladybug. The one who clings like a doof onto your sleeve because it knows you won't squash it. If it doesn't know you, will you stay a while? Natsuki's poems require the most involvement to obtain, requiring playing the base game and the fourth side story, Balance. In the base game, obtaining her poems is similar to obtaining Yuri's poems. On the first day of poem sharing in Acts 1 and 2, Natsuki will always show you the poem Eagles Can Fly, regarding the futility of trying. On the second day of poem sharing in Act 1, Natsuki will show you the poem Amy Likes Spiders, regarding the vice of judging people for one action or characteristic. This poem can only be seen if your first poem or first two poems were for Natsuki, or if Natsuki liked any poems for Sayori more than Yuri. On the third day of poem sharing in Act 1, Natsuki will show you one of two poems, or none. If the conditions for seeing Amy Likes Spiders were at least met, you will see her beach poem titled I'll Be Your Beach. If all three of your poems were for Natsuki, she will show you Because You, which is, simply put, a romantic poem. Now in the side story Balance, Natsuki will show Sayori the best place in the world, detailing her difficulties and desires to open up to people. Once you've seen all of these poems, you now have access to Natsuki's Special Events poem. I named my pet The Expression Express. My feelings aboard with a ticket to you. No room for stammers, no lies, no extra stops, no compromise. Station screaming by, attendants saying hi, one ticket to you, please and thank you. Take a headphone, and nose. No bumps in the rails, just thumps in my heart, and loops in my letters, and clouds in the sky, and dreams in your eyes. Hey, wake up, the train has arrived. Expression Express, destination you, choo-choo. The last poem to obtain is Dan Salvato's Message of Gratitude to the Player, which can only be seen if you have seen all the characters' CGs in the base game. 3 for Sayori, 3 for Natsuki, 3 for Yuri, and 1 for Monica. The best way to go about seeing all of them is to save before the first poem minigame in Act 1 and choose either Sayori, Natsuki, or Yuri to only write poems for. Once you do, return to this save and repeat for the other two girls. Make sure to spend the weekend with both Natsuki and Yuri separately, making saves as necessary. Additionally, when Sayori confesses to you, choose I love you at least once, which leads to this emotional scene. Once all the above has been fulfilled, continue the game normally, and you shall be rewarded. Now what does it really mean to write a poem for someone? What does it really mean when Yuri would like a poem for Sayori more than Natsuki, or vice versa? The technical answers lie in the text document poemwords.txt found in the game folder under the Files tab. Here there are lists of winning words for Sayori, Natsuki, and Yuri, where each word is followed by a set of comma-separated numbers, indicating the number of points the word gives to Sayori, Natsuki, and Yuri in that order. Take the word imagination, which is a Yuri winning word. Choosing that word in a poem minigame grants Sayori 2 points, Natsuki 1 point, and Yuri 3 points. In contrast, the word cute grants Sayori 2 points, Natsuki 3 points, and Yuri 1 point. It is important to note that the point difference between Yuri and Natsuki when choosing Sayori winning words is, on average, less than that when choosing Natsuki winning words or Yuri winning words, putting Sayori in a position of a neutral character between Yuri and Natsuki. That's why when you write poems for Sayori, Yuri could like them more than Natsuki, or vice versa, but when you write poems for, say, Yuri, Sayori's guaranteed to like them more than Natsuki. The document's usefulness shines when making so-called perfect poems for any of the characters. Now for Monica, you are guaranteed to make a perfect poem in Act 3, but for the others, you need to choose your words wisely. Of course, the more you play this game, the more you will understand the words each character likes. Yuri tends to like complex, abstract words, while Natsuki tends to like short, concrete, cute words. Sayori falls in the middle, liking words of pure emotion. However, if you are skeptical, feel free to reference poemwords.txt as necessary. If you are successful, writing a perfect poem for each girl will get you a respective achievement. The document also contains something else, an anomaly of sorts. Under Yuri's winning words, you will notice this line, which reads 9:15-130. That's odd. 9:15 is a time, not a word, and why would something under Yuri's winning words score her 0 points? It turns out that this is a clue for something else entirely, which I will discuss in a future part of this series. And so, that is that! Now I want to hear what you guys think. What did you think about writing poems? What poems did you like best? What do you think about poems.txt? Let me know down in the comments below. Now with all this being said, I'd like to say thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, drop a like down below, let me know how I'm doing. And if you want to see more of my content, why not hit the subscribe button? Not about me, not about you. So once again, thank you all, and until next time, I'll see you around.